Hi, turtle. Hi, snail. Bumby. The bumblebees kind of. Brendan was at Abbey Lane. He won the Terrific Kids Award. And I remember that when they called his name, students started cheering, Brendan, Brendan, and we were shocked because we didn't know anybody even knew him because, he had limited verbal skills. Do you want to go to Pokemon Stadium like we did last night? That was kind of cool. We'll do that after, okay? We would be out in public and people would be saying hello to him. So they just sort of embraced him from the very beginning. I think that's a big part of how the program was run at MacArthur as well, the ABA program. Joe just felt like he took him to a football practice and people were just coming over and saying hello or greeting him. And I think that became a big part. And then he would continue to bring Brendan to games. And then he started to bring a camera, let's say, because he always loved taking pictures. And I think that's how that sort of came about. I think he also felt like he was giving back. He felt like we had been given so much from the school, the way everybody embraced him. He wanted to sort of pay it back and then pay it forward.
Seven years ago, Newsday produced an award-winning documentary on the bond between autistic high school student Brendan Gallagher and his classmates at MacArthur High School.
What we wanted to do is we wanted to show you, especially for you younger guys, we just want to show you that before we move forward, and we're probably going to end up watching this like every year to just kind of show what it's all about.
The hope was, oh my God, Brendan's going to go to MacArthur and be a general and graduate from MacArthur and go wherever he wants to do, whatever he wants. And then you find out that none of that stuff's ever gonna happen. And that's tough. That's really, really tough. Brendan has autism. Though he's an adult, he's not an adult. But when he's at the school with the kids in the high school, that's his home environment. All those things go away. The kids in the school open up their lives to him and changed everything.
But in 2019, the Gallaghers and the MacArthur community would be changed forever. Joe died from heart failure. His sudden passing stunned the community.
He was almost like a father figure to some of them. And I think, I always kind of thought of him as sort of a coach to them. I could remember being here, he would be sitting, in the yard and before a big game, and some of the boys would be sitting around him and he would be giving them like a pep talk.
You lose a game and B's there, it's like you never lost. He's right there in your corner, happy. Even if he's upset that you lost, he'll still make you happy, that he's there supporting you to kind of wash out the loss,
One of those conversations that we always had where he was always saying, like, well, I need to give back, I need to give back. I'm like, Joe, you don't need to give back. You've been doing so much for everybody. He had that thing inside of him where he just felt like it was never enough. The Lax for Autism game was actually an idea that I had when I was an assistant coach. In seeing the reactions with Brendan and Joe, we just kind of wanted to do something, and we had mentioned like, hey, let's try to fundraise or let's try to do that and see what exactly it was that we could do. On the back of your jerseys, there are different words that we use, right? We have hope, we have strength, we have acceptance and courage. I think those are awesome terms that we could use for exactly the way we view the kids that have autism and the kids within our program here. 13.
The Lax for Autism game was canceled for 2 years during the COVID-19 pandemic. In 2022, driven by Joe Gallagher's legacy and the selflessness he exhibited throughout his life, the game returned.
It started 10 years ago with one singular game. You guys and these gentlemen right here have helped this grow into a full-day event that has raised a lot of money for a local school that helps kids with autism. It just seemed like we were playing for something different and something bigger than just going out and playing Mineola. We're in our 10th year now, and it's turned into almost a jamboree of games. Let's have a good one tonight, right? We invited the family because it wouldn't be the same without the Gallagher family there.
Joseph was the unofficial photographer for MacArthur High School football games. He passed away suddenly in 2019, but his legacy lives on with this game. In fact, he handmade every autism puzzle piece here.
On top of his job with the Long Island Railroad, you know, he'd be working until 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, making these puzzle pieces, painting them on his dining room table, you know, to just make this event bigger and better for the kids.
He would be so proud. He would be so grateful that it's continuing. I think he just, you know, in his mind, he didn't want it to just be like a one and done and a one-shot deal. He wanted to know that people were going to remember autism awareness.
Make contact, make contact. Check. Good. That's why we do what we do for this game. It kind of took on a new meaning with the loss of Joe, where now it's like we're kind of just doing what we're doing for the cause, but we're also trying to keep his legacy alive.
Thank you, buddy. No, thank you. No.
I had grown very, very close with Joe. Miss my friend, you know, and it's very tough to think that he's not around and you can't call him, and that we won't be here at night setting up together. And, you know, the whole experience of it. I mean, we're on 10 years now. We would never have thought this. We were planning for one night. And this is just an amazing thing. And he'll forever be a part of it.
First, I remind him that Nana was in heaven and Grandma and Grandpa were in heaven. And, you know, when I told him that now Daddy was in heaven too, you know, and I tried to make it sound like it was a positive thing because we had always done that in the past with our parents. It's hard to know what he understands, and I didn't want to scare him or upset him, you know, and even now I don't want him to ever forget about Joe. So that's why there are so many pictures all over the house of Joe, and I want them to know that he wasn't coming back, but that it would still be okay. I didn't know if he was hearing me, that I promised Joe that I would never, ever, ever let Brendan forget about him. And I will always, you know, make sure that he does it. I don't think he could. They shared too much together.
It was a very, very tough and emotional time when we found out that he had passed.
We were in shock. You know, we were all in school. We were all asking around, like, is that true? Like, is that really happened?
He was so selfless, and it was just all about what he wanted to do to make these kids have the best experience that they could.
He's missed so much, honestly, every day, you know. Every day is just not the same without him. As I said, he was larger than life, and he, you know, we had been together. We had celebrated our 29th wedding anniversary 2 days before he passed away.
His legacy will stay here forever just because of the man he was. He always gave back. He cared about you personally. Sometimes he'd come by himself. Like I said, he would come to my games in college and take pictures. His legacy will live on forever here and with me for the rest of my life.
Joe's legacy is MacArthur High School, you know. It's every kid that's walked through these halls, every kid that he's taken a picture of. The general slogan is, once a general, always a general, and he's proven that true.
Joe really gave back to us. It really was touching to see that he cared about everybody, not just one person individually.
He was just a great man, and everyone will miss him for sure, but his legend will live on forever. Everyone will always remember Joe.
I know that he's looking down. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a rainbow somewhere in the sky later, or a shooting star, because he, you know, he would love this. He would be so proud and so excited that this is still happening and that it's become so huge.
Hey, let's show some enthusiasm. Let's get after it. Let's go.